Vedanta Krit Vedavid Eva Chaham. So he is seated in everyone's heart, and from him come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By the Vedas, he is to be known. Indeed, he is the compiler of the Vedantas, and he is the knower of the Vedas. So we did this last time. Let's go on now. Dvav imau purushau loke ksharashchakshara evacha ksharaha sarvani bhutani kutastokshara uchyate. Okay, Sudhakar, can you read this translation and purport?
Yes, Prabhu. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Purport. As already explained, the Lord in his incarnation as Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta Sutra. Here the Lord is giving in summary the contents of the Vedanta Sutra. He says that the living entities, who are innumerable, can be divided into two classes, the fallible and infallible. The living entities are eternally separated parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When they are in contact with the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta.
And the Sanskrit words?
Jiva Bhuta. And Sanskrit words given here, Kshara, Sarvani, Bhutani, means that they are fallible. Those who are in the oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. Oneness does not mean that they have no individuality, but that there is no disunity. They are all agreeable to the purpose of the creation. Of course, in the spiritual world, there is no such thing as creation. But since the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra, is the source of all enumerations, emanations, that conception is explained. According to the statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, there are two classes of living entities. The Vedas given evidence of this. So there is no doubt about it. The living entities who are struggling in this world with the mind and five senses have their material bodies which are changing. As long as the living entity is conditioned, his body changes due to contact with matter. Matter is changing. So the living entity appears to be changing. But in the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter. Therefore, there is no change. In the material world, the living entity undergoes 6 changes: birth, growth, duration, reproduction, then dwindling and vanishing. These are the changes of the material body. But in the spiritual world, the body does not change. There is no old age, there is no birth, there is no death. They all exist in oneness. Krishna, Kshara, Sarvani, Bhutani. Any living entity who has come in contact with matter beginning from the first created being, Brahma, down to a small ant, in changing its body. Therefore, they are all fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you for reading that. So, Sharaha. Sharaha Sarvani Bhutani means when the bhutas, like when the living entities come in contact. But what is Sharaha? Sharaha means like a small fragmental part. Aksharaha means like a very large part. So Krishna is Akshara and we are Kshara. So beginning from the first created being Brahma down to the small ant, we are all fallible. Fallible means we make mistakes and we are always struggling. So there are Dwa Imsa, what's the verse? Dwa Imau Purusha Loke. So there are two types of Purushas. One is the Kshara, fallible, and the other is Akshara, infallible. Right? Like Krishna Gundameda's daughter's name, Akshara, means not fallible. Somebody who will not make mistake. That is the hope. Right? When people give such names. So we are Jiva Bhutas. And he is Brahma, Brahman or Brahma Bhuta. So later in the 18th chapter, you will have a verse which says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na sochati na kangshati, samah sarveshu bhuteshu, mad bhakti lavate param. So our problem is that we are sochati and kangshati. So we are always worrying about the past. What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I did this? And we are planning for the future, kangshati. So we are thinking, what if I did this? Will this be better for the future? Like that. Sochati and kangshati, there are two types of lamentation that we have. Worrying about the past and fearing about the future or anticipating about the future. This is all we have. But in the meantime, what's happening? Our body is changing due to contact with matter. Matter is changing. So living entity appears to be changing, but only body is changing. The soul is not changing. So we see death, right? We see birth after death, birth, growth, duration, reproduction, and dwindling, and finally vanishing. Dwindling means the body will start shrinking after a particular age. It will become very small. And after some time, the soul leaves the body. Whatever is left will be burnt or buried, whatever, and it is done. So this is not a problem just for us. Beginning from the first created Brahma down to a small ant, everybody is changing its body. So they are all fallible, Krishna says. Fallible means somebody who makes mistakes. Okay. Uttamaha Purushasva Anyaha. Paramatme Paramatmeti Udaritaha.
Paramatmeti udaratah.
Yo Loka Trayam Avishya.
Yo loka trayam avishya.
Bivarti Avyaya Ishvaraha.
Vibharti avya ishvaraha.
Besides this, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. So the Lord has entered each one of those three worlds and is maintaining us. So the idea of this verse is very nicely expressed in the Katha Upanishad and the Svetatsvatara Upanishad. There are innumerable living entities. Innumerable living entities. So I'll show you a slide of innumerable living entities. If you look at, yeah. So this is Lake Erie, New York area, right? So they took a satellite picture They found billions and billions of small, living entities in the lake. What happens is when you do farming and you create a lot of nitrogen, you put a lot of nitrogen fertilizers, plants will only take a small fraction. Rest is all by rain, it is washed down, and finally it ends up in this lakes, lakes or in the ocean. So because there is high amount of nitrogen, what's happening? Algae are like small water plants. So this is a billions of plants are actually there in this water. So to think that there are only a few living beings is actually incorrect. There are millions and millions of living entities spreading. This is one other map. It's a satellite map. So between two land bodies, you have water, but there are billions and billions of small water living entities. Some of them are plants, which means they have stems. Some of them are animals, which means they have bones. And when all these little living entities die, their bones become what you see as shells and um, corals and all those things, right? So these are all animal bones that form into that. So there are innumerable living entities. Some of them are sorry.
Prabhu, in a couple of minutes ago, you said that all the living entities are fallen, right? So it's
Fallible, not fallen. They have tendency
fallible.
of becoming falling. Yeah.
Yeah. So would this go for only Jiva Tattvas, or would it go for even Shiva Tattva? Jada Tattva, I believe, is fallible, because we have seen how Mother Parvati converted Chitraketu into becoming Vritrasura. So at least there is a mistake over there. But then, will the fallibility be extended to Shiva Tattvas as well?
Well, Shiva has little bit of that tendency because he's not entirely in that state where Lord Vishnu and Narayana and above, like all the other forms of the Supreme Lord. So sometimes he exhibits that little bit of mode of ignorance. So you could say that once in a while he falls down temporarily, but you would not normally consider him as such, right? Occasional mistake or something like that. But Jivatattvas means we make mistakes on a daily basis.
Yeah, Jiva Tattva is obviously that is without any question. Right from we know Brahma's multiple mistakes as well. From Brahma till bacteria, we all make mistakes. That's fine. But then the Shakti Tattva, which is the internal potency of the Lord, they do not make mistakes, right? They are perfect.
Technically, they don't make mistakes, but under the direction of the Lord, sometimes it appears that they are making mistakes. Right? For performance of Lord's Leela, just like Mohini Murti, it appears that Shiva ran after Mohini, but that is a part of the Leela. So Shiva is placed into that position, but it's not like Shiva actually, is totally bewildered. So he's placed in that position temporarily.
Okay, and Lakshmi Devis and the other, they are always infallible, like the Lord.
Lakshmi Devi is always with the Lord 24/7, except when she came down as Sri Devi in the Leela of Balaji Venkateswara Swami, right? Other than that,
Right.
she never leaves. She is the most faithful wife, right? 24/7, she is at the Lord's feet. So, yeah. And it is not, yeah, and it is said that the Lord sleeps while Lakshmi is pressing the feet, but in scriptures, it is never said that Lakshmi Devi sleeps, right? So she's always
Right.
yeah. So they're in a very different category. Actually, we cannot even comment about them. They're all in a very high category, basically.
Okay, so living entities over here, primarily Srila Prabhupada is talking about Jivatmas then.
Jivatmas,
He's not about the other tattvas.
He's not talking about other tattvas. No.
Okay.
Because he talked about the other tattvas elsewhere. Vyasadeva talks about these other tattvas in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he gives you fine dividing lines between Krishna and Narayana, Narayana and Vishnu and the Vishnu avatars. So they are all like plenary portions, means Krishna is 100%. So his first round of expansions like Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Aniruddha and Pradyumna are not 100%. They're probably like 98, 99% of the full potency. So the percentages come down as you look at Karnodaksha Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, who are there in the mid 90s range, percentages wise, right? So Jiva Tattva is 64% of the Lord's potency. So we are pretty, we have a lot of qualities actually. 64% is not a small number, right? But then we can never really grow beyond our 64%. We are just stuck there. So all this mathematics is given Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it says that how different tattvas are there. But that's an advance.
Bit of devotion also has this, Prabhu.
Letter of devotion also, okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. All the 64 qualities are mentioned, and then just the 4 qualities that are only Krishna's, and then Narayana's 60 qualities, and then Shiva's 55, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, very good. So you have read Nectar of Devotion well. I read it, but I don't remember what you just said. So yeah, the qualities are there. Maybe we should go someday and read Nectar of Devotion percentages wise.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
No, this is very important to discuss. So the Upanishadic verse is Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. So Srila Prabhupada quotes that many times. Why? To show that there are a lot of living entities, but the number one is Krishna. Right? So there is always a starting point for everything, and that starting point is Krishna. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. So it's the starting point of eternity, is the starting point of your consciousness. Eko Bahunam, he is the Eka who is taking care of the Bahunam, means he's taking care of everybody else. And some of these everybody else category is conditioned and liberated also. It's not like everybody is a fool. There are some good souls also who are liberated. So even they are considered Jivatmas, but they are liberated Jivatmas, means they are no longer Ksharaha, means they don't have the tendency to fall down anymore. Once in a while, the Lord may call a liberated soul and say, okay, you go to this planet and run this show. Then they will say, okay, my Lord, since it's your wish, I'll go and do some things. But otherwise, they're all liberated. They have no interest in the material world. So again, Srila Prabhupada talks about Upadrishta Anumantacha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaram. Every verse, every line is a translation of some Sanskrit verse actually. This is an excellent way Srila Prabhupada talks about. See again, 2 verses ago, he talked about conditioned and liberated souls. And he's already quoting that again in this purport. Right? Conditioned and liberated. A wise man who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace. So he is now talking about Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surdam Sarvabhutanam Gyatvanam Shantim Rachati. So if you want to attain perfect peace, then you have to understand who the Bhokta is. Krishna. Everybody else is a servant, but when we try to lord it over material nature, master it, right? So even during this corona time, people are trying to dominate each other, right? Like, the newspapers say Jeff Bezos is now the richest. It's no longer Bill Gates. What has that got to do? People are dying left and right. So why are you worried about who is rich and who is not rich? But that's how people are. They tend to talk about these things even when there is massive disaster going around the world. So many people are affected, including our ISKCON gurus like Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who just passed away. He was infected by corona, and then first heart gave away, heart attack, and then kidneys started failing. They put him on ventilator on one side and kidney treatment like dialysis on the other side. And what can you do? It's like too much to take. So the body gives up at some point. And then everything kind of falls. And finally, he left his body. Of course, the leaving of a pure devotee is not considered death, right? Because it could be two things. Maybe Srila Prabhupada wanted him to come and serve him in some other planet to preach, or it could be the Lord wants to see his, dear devotee. Okay, enough is enough. Now come with me, right? Mahabharata talks about so many cases where souls are called, like Abhimanyu's father was in heaven. He said, okay, enough is enough. Now you come. So they had to accelerate his process. They had to kill him on the battlefield, and then he goes back. Not to spiritual world, but to Swargaloka. So there are many cases like that. If somebody is desirable to somebody in the Swargaloka or Maharloka or Satyaloka or the spiritual world, they will finish his chapter quickly and then they'll call him back. So they'll be like, if you look at, I was just contemplating on this today. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he was going from Calcutta to Mayapur in a car accident. He suddenly died, very suddenly. If you look at Aindra Prabhu in Vrindavan, the gas cylinder exploded in his kitchen and he died in the night. And if you look at Bhakti Charu Maharaj, sudden departure, right? Bhakti Charu Maharaj is very healthy compared to many other sannyasis in ISKCON. He was very healthy actually. But suddenly maybe the Lord wanted to see him done. Corona is just an external excuse. He's just called back. Right? So he was here in Seattle when Manoj Raheja and Bharti and everybody got initiated. I still have the photos from that event. I sent it on WhatsApp, I think, one time. So everything was good. Suddenly, within a year, he's gone. So there are different causes for death. But for the average jiva, the cause of death is he has to take birth again, right? So he cannot finish all his karma in one lifetime. So, okay, now you take birth again and continue your journey. So, very different approaches for a pure devotee and a not so pure devotee. Everybody is a devotee, actually. Everybody is a devotee, but they are just rebelling against the Lord's wishes. That's what's happening.
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So I have a question on this, this Prabhu. So the expansion, so there is an expansion of Lord, and then there is expansions of demigods, right? Like for example, Madhavacharya is said to be an expansion of Hanuman. Bhima. So how can we understand that, Prabhu?
How can we understand? Just as it is stated in the Mahabharata, that's it. No. If Madhavacharya is an expansion of Bhima, he's an expansion of Bhima, that's it. What can you say?
No, because usually what they say is like Vishnu Tattvas,
No, it's not like that. It's called plenary portions. So Krishna can come as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, or first he can come as Sankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudev. And then again, the Sankarshan can expand into one of these Vishnus and so on. So fraction of a fractional portion, that theory exists for the Supreme Lord, and it is discussed at great length in the scriptures. But it appears that even devatas have some plenary portions that are once in a while sent down here, because devatas don't come to material world anymore. To planet Earth anymore. They're not treated very nicely in the Kali Yuga. So they don't come in their full form. So they may send like a fraction of their energy down like that. Even for a devata to descend here, there has to be some, proper situation or the proper environment for them to come down. For example, even for a devata to eat in your home, you have to cook in pure ghee. But if you cook in sunflower oil, peanut oil, the devata will not even touch it. Forgets Krishna eating it. Even devatas won't touch it. That's the fact of the matter.
Prabhu, in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Gopakumar asked this question to Narad Muni because he sees Narad Muni in multiple. Planets, both the material as well as in spiritual planets, and therefore he asks, "How is this possible?" And we also see that in part 1 of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Narad Muni meets Hanuman in Kim Purusha Varsha, and but then when Gopakumar travels to Ayodhya Dham, he sees Hanuman jumping here and there, being the Chamra, being this one, that one, this one. So many things. He does that one as well. So ultimately, Gopakumar has this question, and then Narad Muni says that the pure devotees are capable of expanding themselves. Because they have that particular, not all devotees, but pure, very pure devotees are capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And maybe that might answer Sarana Prabhu's question as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhu.
That is a very good point. So Narada Muni, we all know, is like capable of being in many places very rapidly. Within a fraction of a second, he can travel between planets and things like that. And Hanuman, we have seen in many stories, suddenly he's seen in Himalayas, suddenly he's seen in wherever there is Ram Katha going on. It is said that Hanuman sits like an old man in some corner wherever Ramayana is being recited. So Hanuman apparently can be in more than one place at one time. But again, I don't know all the details. So thank you for bringing that up, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. I read that like, 13, 14 years ago. So again, I don't remember all the details. All I remember is the hierarchy of devotion, right? Like they say, oh, Hanuman, you are the greatest devotee. Hanuman says, no, 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 I'm not the greatest devotee. Somebody else is the greatest devotee. In this way, the hierarchy goes to finally all the gopis, from Manjaris to gopis. And finally, Krishna comes and hugs Gopakumara, says, I missed you. Where were you all this time? Like that. So that's all I remember from my reading many years ago. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Okay, let's do 1518. Yasmaksharam atitoham
यस्माक्षरं मतोऽहम्
aksharaadapi chotamah
अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः
atosmi lokavede cha
अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदेश
pratitaha purushottamah.
प्रतीतपुरुषोत्तमः.
It is not pratitaha, because there is ha, h with a dot below. It is ha. You have to drop the ha. Just like Purushottamaha. Right? Okay, because I'm transcendental, who is speaking now? Who is speaking?
God speaking.
Krishna is speaking. Yeah. God is a very generic term. It is Supreme Lord, Krishna himself speaking. Because I am transcendental. He is Trigunatita. Tino guno ke atit. He is like above the three gunas. Beyond both fallible and infallible. And because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in this world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. Like if you read Vedas, hundreds and thousands of times, you will see the glories of Supreme Lord. Like, almost every skanda, every adhyaya will end with, oh, glories to that supreme person who is in Vaikunta, like that. All Vedas will have this conclusion as that supreme, person who is Trigunatita, like that. Okay, Sarvana, please read the purport.
Prabhu, he just went recalled. Can I read?
You read, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear here that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think of the Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority between their personalities. The word Uttama is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Loke signifies in the Paurusha Agama, the Smriti scriptures, as confirmed in the Nirukti dictionary, Lokyate Vedartho Nena. The purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. The Supreme Lord, in his localized aspect of Paramatma, is also described in the Vedas themselves. The following verse appears in the Vedas, Chandogya Upanishad 8.12.3. Tavad esha sampras hold on Riya. Tavad esha samprasado asmak charirat samutaya param jyoti rupam sampadya svena rupena binis padyate sa uttama purushaha. The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyotir. Then in his form, he remains in his spiritual identity. That supreme is called the Supreme Personality. This means that the Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect as Paramatma. By incarnating himself as the son of
Satyavati and Parashara, he explains the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva.
Very good, Riya. So this is a very interesting thing, very, very interesting thing, Chandogya Upanishad, right? The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyotir. Then in his form, he remains in his spiritual identity. So it appears that at the point of our death, the super soul is coming out of the body and enters the impersonal Brahma Jyotir, right? This is, I think this is the only place this thing is mentioned. Nowhere else I have seen in my limited perception and studies. We always talk about the soul transmigrating body to body, right? Here they are talking about the Paramatma who is accompanying you life after life, how he comes out of the body and joins the impersonal Brahma Jyotir. So this requires a little bit more research on how this happens. Because nowhere else I remember seeing this particular thing mentioned. The super soul leaving the body and going somewhere else.
Prabhu, Riya has a question, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Will we also glow in the spiritual world like Krishna?
Prabhuji.
Oh, Prabhuji.
Yeah, we will glow. There are some pictures that Srila Prabhupada's disciples have made where they show in Vaikunta, Narayan and Lakshmi are sitting on the throne, and all the liberated souls also look like Narayana. There is one thing missing between all the individual souls, spiritual body and Narayana's body. You know what that is, Riya?
I forgot the name of it, but I think it's like white hair on his chest.
Yeah, that's correct. So there are two things. One is the white hair, and then one is the Kaustuba, Srivatsa and Kaustuba Mani. So Kaustuba gem. So there is a gem hanging in his chest, as presumably through a necklace of some kind. So the scriptures don't give description of the necklace; they give the description of a gem on his chest. And then there is a Srivatsa, a lock of white hair on the Lord's body. Of course, Lord is never old, but for some reason the hair is white. So there is a nice song in one of the Telugu movies, right? What is that? Vakshastale kaustubam nasagre navamohikam karatale venum kare kankanam. So there is a song which describes all these
Kasturi
characters.
Tilakam, Prabhu.
Huh?
It starts with Kasturi Tilakam, Lallada
Right. Kasturi
Vakshastale
Tilakam.
Kaustubam Nasa.
Right. Yeah. Very good. Good point. So let's see if we can go and see that song. Kasturi Tilakam. Lalat.
Just type Jai Krishna Mukunda Murari.
I know.
That one has the song, Prabhu.
Jaya Krishna Mukunda Murari. Okay, internet connection is unstable. Jaya Govinda Vrindavi.
Yes, Prabhu.
This one? Let's see if this is the one. There's more than one places that song has come. My internet.
Yeah.
తిలకం లలాట పలకే